Hi guys, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Danny, and we're RV America.
Yes, we have been asked by a couple of other channels to do a collaboration. This is our very first ever collaboration and we're really excited about it.
Yep, and I really thought it was a great topic. It is RV Essentials, what you need to take on your first RV trip.
But before we get into that, Danny will have the names of all the other channels that we're working with. They'll be listed down here somewhere.
Right.
And also a link to their videos will be in the description of this video so that you can check them all out and see what's on their list.
Yes, because the idea of this is get not only an idea from us, but from the other collaborators, so you can build a better and better list.
By the time you watch all these videos, you're gonna know exactly what you need to take with you if you're a newbie on your first ever trip.
Let's get started.
So we're gonna go at this list from a little different angle. If you've been following us for any amount of time, you know that Danny has been having some major problems with his hip.
Yep, if you want to see how bad it was, check out our video on Grinnell Glacier, that hike out in Glacier National Park.
Almost did him in. I was gonna have to carry him out.
You can see how bad
that would not be good.
Hip was. But we want to think outside the box because I'm not going to be able to, for the next few weeks, to crawl into our bays and pull out different items that you might want to see.
He can't do that to get the physical items, and I don't want to touch the sewer hose. So we're just going to kind of go at this from a little different viewpoint. We think it will still be very useful information and that you'll get a lot out of it.
Right.
Aside from that, we do have a video that lists 21?
Yep.
21 essentials that you need when you start RVing. We will link that video somewhere.
Down in the description too?
Yeah, Danny will put that one down there.
Yeah, so you'll have that plus the other collaborators list plus these outside of the box items.
Outside of the box. So the first thing on our list is
a checklist. Now that's going to be on probably several people's list of things to do, but we want to make sure you have a checklist. And it's a little bit outside of the box is that we suggest Google Keep. Google Keep, you can update your checklist as you remember something or as you pick up a new piece of item, a new item, and you'll put that on your list. And you can check the box off on your phone, uncheck all of them with one check, and it really will help you out so you will not forget a thing.
Yeah, even with our checklist, we had one trip that we took off and we literally forgot our bike helmets and our cat's mesh tent that they go outside in. And it cost us almost $100 to get those things shipped to us because we were gonna be out for 2 months. We needed those items because old people shouldn't bike without helmets.
And those were things that we bought since our last trip and we didn't add to our list, so it was easy to forget. So that's why you want an updatable checklist to help you get through these kind of problems.
Now, as far as your checklist goes, don't do that the day you're packing up. Start that checklist as soon as you get your RV. And that way you will be working on it and adding to it. We have a list for things we do at home before we leave to make sure we don't forget anything really important, like make sure the water's turned off. We have a list for everything that goes from the house into the camper. That list is and it's constantly changing.
Update.
Yeah, and then we have a list for setting up and a list for tearing down. And these lists are major important, especially when you're first starting out. You will get more and more used to them as time goes by and you'll be able to recall things to your memory better and better. But starting out, they are 100% essential.
So the second thing you need to bring is bring your patience.
For real.
Yep, there's going to be so many things that are new to you, so many things that can cause frustration. You need to make sure you slow down and stay patient.
Yeah, there's gonna be so many things that you're gonna screw up and have to do over again.
Yep, and especially be patient when you're backing that rig in, especially if you don't have any experience at backing it in.
Be patient with your spouse.
And yourself.
Inevitably, there's gonna be something that you don't know how to do and you're gonna have to stop and take the time to look it up and figure it out. But it's okay.
Just be patient.
Just be patient.
So the third thing to bring is make sure you pack a little bit of experience.
Yeah, I think that kind of sounds silly.
Well, what I mean by that is you have zero experience right now, but that doesn't mean you can't get out and practice backing your rig up in a parking lot, getting some cones. It doesn't mean you can't practice an overnight stay in your driveway, so you know how things work.
Actually, before we went on our maiden voyage, our first real trip, we took the rig to a campground and stayed 2 nights just so we could figure out how everything worked.
Yeah, it was close by, but it gave us some real life experience.
Yeah.
So you can have a little bit of experience if you get out there and practice a little bit.
The worst thing that you can do is buy a new camper, load it up, and head across country in it before you've ever stayed the first night.
Yeah, we have
friends that did that. It was miserable. They didn't know what they were doing. They ended up so frustrated. They came home and they sold the rig.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
So the idea is get a little bit of practice and do it nearby before you take on that first
major trip.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't do the major trip without it.
So the fourth thing, speaking of experience, is bring an experienced friend, if possible.
Yeah. Before we took our maiden voyage, when we went on our little 2-day weekend thing, we got a friend of ours who had lots of experience, and we had talked him into going with us. And he went with us on our very first trip, walked us through everything from hooking up the water, hooking up the electric, dumping the sewer, the slides, everything, even backing in and leveling. It was wonderful to have someone there with experience that we could ask questions to.
Yeah. By asking that friend to come, you can gain years of experience just through his knowledge.
That's right.
So the fifth thing you want to bring is bring a pad of paper and a pen. Now, what do I mean by that is that just as we mentioned with the checklist, you're going to forget some things, and you don't want to forget the same thing more than one trip. So as you see something you forgot, or something you need to check a video on, or something you need to gain some knowledge in, write those down. That way you're gaining more and more experience. That way you can keep your list updated.
Yeah, and if you're not into paper and pen, like a lot of people aren't, then you can do notes on your phone, post-it notes on your phone, or you can just update your Google Keep as you go, if you're good at that.
So that keeps your list fresh.
Right, because your list will be ever changing.
And the sixth thing you want to pack is pack your sense of humor.
Yeah, you have to be able to laugh at yourself if you're going to camp. You're inevitably going to make mistakes. We all do. It's okay. It's part of the learning process. So if you've got a sense of humor, you can just laugh at it and roll on. Okay, one story. Danny was filling up.
What's it going to be?
It has to be you. He was filling up. He was trying to hook up our water one night, and we were still very newbie at this point.
So let me set it and I'll let her finish it. So this is like our second trip, and we want to get a little bit more experience. And we broke one of our rules that we said we'd never do, never break, and that was arrive after dark. So we arrived after dark, and there were no lights in the area where we were camping. And I needed to try to get the city water hooked to the RV.
Well, he hooked the city water up, but he hooked it to the black tank flush.
I kept hearing a winding noise, like this never happens when I've used the city water before.
Yeah.
What's going on? I kept turning it off, I'd turn it on, I kept seeing what was going on, kept having. And
he finally, I get there, because I got there late, I had something at work that I had to do, and I come in and he goes, I don't know what's wrong with our city water, I can't get it to work. We're just gonna use the
fresh tank.
The fresh tank. We're just gonna use the pump until tomorrow, and then at daylight, I'll figure it out. Well, when I went to the bathroom and pushed the thing to flush it, the water was up to the top. Like I could see the water in the toilet.
We almost had a black tank disaster where water shooting out of the toilet, out of the top of the vent.
Yeah.
It could have been nasty.
So that's a lesson that he learned that he will not forget.
But we're able to laugh at it now.
Yeah, you got to have that sense of humor and laugh at it and roll on, and even if it had been a mess, you got to laugh at it and roll on.
Yep.
That's all you can do. So we hope this list will help you when you get ready to do your first RV trip as a newbie. And don't forget to check out the other channels below, and that will help you to round out your list so that you can be fully prepared.
Because we know these 6 things are outside of the box, but like Glenn said, we hope they really help you think about your first maiden voyage, your first trip.
Yep. Until next time, God bless and many safe travels.
And go RV, America.